Hello, and welcome back to Board to Life. Today, we will be starting out from where we left off, as usual. However, it's a little bit different because we're actually starting with a longer script. So that is script B100, accompanied by the picture that is the current image being displayed. So, I will read that and then we will begin. You run between the trees toward the dark line in the sky, now wide enough to resemble a gaping hole, seeping liquid darkness into the world. You hear unsettling noises, mighty roars, whistling cries, and shouts in a guttural language you don't recognize. There is also the clamor of metal striking against stone and other equally unsettling sounds. When you finally arrive, the sounds of battle are long gone. You see the dragon, a creature even larger than you've imagined, blocking the bottom of the gap in reality with its body. It exudes an unyielding aura of dignity. Is it a dragon guardian of the earth? From where you stand, the gap resembles a portal into a dark reality. The sky inside it is black. There is no moon or sun, only a few dim, glimmering stars. You hear howling from the other side and angry shouts. There are broken weapons. You've never seen steel shaped in such odd shapes, and the bodies of unconscious mistlings scattered around the portal. You recognize some of them. Golems from the ruins and prowlers from Kerberg. They are alive, fortunately. They have probably helped the dragon defend the area from whatever emerged from the portal. The weapons, the pieces of armor, they all scratch and itch in your mind, a memory connected to the ruins you explored yesterday. But you can't tell exactly what it was. You finally focus on the dragon, wounded and bleeding. It makes a poignant wail that resounds in your soul. It evokes strange feelings and visions. You suddenly see an underground area and something shining in the darkness, loneliness and despair. There are also floating islands, an enormous red crystal hovering among them. They evoke warmness, peace. The visions disappear when the dragon growls, and you hear a rustle behind you. Startled, you turn to notice a tall figure of a monster. They are neither mistling nor animal. They have a roughly human silhouette, dark wings, a gaunt face with black eyes, and something glistening at their fingertips. You immediately think of the realm you saw behind the tear in the sky, and of those who wounded the dragon. You hear a snarl and look down to realize that the humanoid monster has its own mistling, a beast with a shadowy, even smoke-like form, crouching at the monster's ankles. The only fixed thing in its half-material body is its malicious gleaming eyes and sharp teeth. The winged figure speaks, their voice reminding you of the large grinding stones inside windmills. They point at you, and their mistling becomes more agitated. You suddenly feel threatened, and so does your companion, who jumps forward to defend you. You glance at the dragon. It looks at you sadly, powerless. It uses all its strength to keep the portal closed. Set up combat. Okay. So, we'll do a quick little cut here, and be right back to the combat setup. Okay, so here's our combat setup over here. Before I get too far into this, I will mention it has been commented that the camera quality of stuff is not overall the best. I'm currently working on a solution for that, and hopefully within the next couple of videos we'll have a slightly better camera quality and angles and everything like that. Because being newer to what I'm doing here, it's a little bit difficult at first. However, I'd like to improve it, and hopefully that is the case. Anyway, let's get into going through how this is going to go. So, for our opponent, we have a young Shadeclaw, which is this one right here. And noticeably a little bit bigger than Luminessa, who is the mistling I have chosen, for two reasons. One, because she is fully healed after the events of the previous section, and also because she has some really nice anti-dark stuff. So I'm not going to go through any of the Luminessa stuff as I've stated before. I'll go through that at the start of each scenario for whatever mistlings I have with me, because it doesn't change in between. Other than if I'm stating health, which it's no damage on it, so it should be fine. And then we are currently fighting in the shaded woods, so there are unstable cones around. And whenever I would move or be placed in a space with an unstable cone, I will basically be taking damage and dealing damage to anything nearby. Now if an enemy moves there, it just gets discarded. So it's not too harmful to the enemy, but it's harmful to me. Which is unfortunate, because I know in PvP it's going to be harmful to anyone. But there's an unstable cone here, and an unstable cone over here. Now, as to our enemy or opponent, we have the young Shadeclaw, who actually has a secondary in wind, but is a dark, and has 0 willpower, 0 defense, 15 health, 5 attack, that's a lot of attack damage, and 3 speed. Now, what makes me happy about this is it's only 15 health, and I know Luminescence is capable of doing a lot of damage. Now, I did go through the thing ahead of time, and we'll note this in a second, but there are 2 tokens that he is allowed to have. Okay, so I want to go through this ahead of time. This is a new feature to Shadeclaw, as to the other Mistlings we fought, as having a summon card. So this is essentially, as we fight Shadeclaw, he will place these little dark tokens all over the map. And each of those will represent a shadow. He's allowed to have up to 2. And this is the shadow stat. So it will have basically 3 attack, 1 movement, and then 1 health. So it gets killed really easily, especially considering that I'm playing Luminessa, who can, specifically as the special ability for Luminessa, if I can pick up the card, do some damage, and I can spread that damage around however I want, which is going to be very important because the Shadeclaw has a passive effect, actually, which is that as long as there's a shadow in the arena, Shadeclaw will not take any damage. Now, normally there would be one placed at the arena at the start, but I had this token in front of me at the end of the previous time, so I got to discard that immediately and basically ignore the first one. Anyway, Shadeclaw will not be taking damage as long as there's a shadow out, and we'll just go through the attack pattern real quick. Circle is rush, attack, retreat. Square is retreat, place a shadow marker in range 4. And then triangle is place a shadow marker in range 2, retreat, each shadow will attack, and then if it's fighting a light, each shadow will attack again. So, though there is the bit of an anti-light here, it's kind of we both are stronger against each other, and I think I'd rather have a small chance of it attacking me a little bit more and me being able to go ahead and get a lot of bonuses against it than not having those bonuses. Anyway, special ability is Cleansing Weak, which could be useful, but I don't think will matter in this case. Rushing, attacking, and then repeating those effects for every shadow in the arena, and then discarding all the shadows. So basically it's like absorbing all of its shadows. Okay, and then that's it for Shadeclaw's stuff. However, what was I going to mention? There was something. Oh, yes. That special ability will activate on round 3, as shown by the little black marker, which I know is a little bit tricky to see, but I know it's visible. Okay. And we will begin combat. So, as usual, players always begin. So, I will be choosing to use Light Vortex, which will first of all give me 3 power. And I really just want to get started on doing damage as soon as possible in this fight. Because, oh, and I should also mention, there is no chance, I cannot tame it in this fight. There's nothing letting me tame it here, so I just have to defeat it, which is a little bit easier, especially considering that it only has 15 health. I'm very happy about that part, because I know this thing could get very strong very quickly otherwise. And it's relying on its shadows to defend it, which hopefully won't be able to do a very good job of it, because I can just kill the shadows, hopefully. Anyway, 3 power, and then I gain a brightness. I can pay 2 power to gain an additional brightness, and being that it will be creating a shadow, do I want to do that? I think I'm going to. So I'll pay 2 power, gain another brightness, and I can have a maximum of 4 of these, I believe. No, 5 of these. So, 2 brightness, and then I get to attack in range 2, which will deal 3 damage because that's my attack value, and I'm within range 2. So we'll go 1, 2. I really should prepare these tokens ahead of time. 3, so there's 3 damage. We're already a fifth of the way. And then, since I'm fighting a dark, I get to gain an additional brightness. I'll just show this card again since it's been a little while. So I'm up to 3 brightness already, which is going to be really nice. And then that will get discarded. I still have 1 power if I want to use it. Being that it's a square, Shadeclaw is only going to be retreating, so if anything, I want to stay closer. so I won't worry about moving right now. And then I'm going to slide these cards down, flip this up. We're getting regeneration, so healing stuff. And then we'll do Shade Claw's turn. So, square. And square means retreat of 3. And then make a shadow in range 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially. There's now a shadow there. That shadow won't do anything, but it is there. Okay. Now, I could actually go ahead and use Guardian Stance. Because it's another square, so he's going to be placing another shadow and retreating. I'd like to do some more damage. Alternatively, I could gain some brightness. But I don't think I need to right now. Well. Because this would get me up to maximum brightness if I use Light Vortex. However, if I use Guardian Stance, I'll have more than enough to go ahead and use my ability. But I'd rather do more damage with it when I do. So I think I'll save that, knowing that he won't be attacking me yet, and the big danger is the shadows, and I can get rid of those with this anyway. So I will use Light Vortex, gain another 2 power, and then gain a brightness. My brightness. So another brightness. And then I won't spend the 2, but I will attack in range 2 and go ahead and just attack that shadow marker because then it goes away. And it will save me some damage later. And then I will gain a brightness because I'm fighting a dark, bringing me up to max brightness already. That will then get discarded, and I don't want to use any of my special actions, so I'm just going to scoot over here and then go ahead and end my turn, flipping that face up, getting hit and run added to the list. Okay, now we'll go back to Shadeclaw, who can't really retreat any farther. So for the square activation this time, he'll basically just be staying where he is and placing another shadow in range 4 right next to me. Okay, I think that's actually upside down. No, it's not. That's the right way. It's supposed to go vertically. Interesting. I was just looking at the card as to the way the symbol's supposed to go. I didn't know that. That's going to bother me now. Okay. So, anyway, I will then get my turn. And for my turn, I'm definitely going to want to use my special ability here. And I might as well, knowing that that's a triangle, be placing a shadow in range 2, retreating, and then shadows will attack. But the shadows won't be close enough to attack as long as this one's gone. So, I'm going to go ahead and do a... This is a weird... it's not that weird, but a little bit of a weird strategy. I'm going to go ahead and use Heavy Strike, giving me 2 more power. And then I get to attack and move an opponent in range 1, but I won't be able to do that. So I'm just going to attack, destroying this little token. And then that will get discarded. And I'm going to use 4 power to activate my Fading Light special ability. So I'll deal damage in any range for every brightness I have, which is 5. So we'll deal 5 damage to Shadeclaw, bringing it up to 8 damage taken. I know it's kind of hard to see past the Shadeclaw miniature. And then I have to discard a brightness as well. So I will then end my turn. I've done over half its health already, and I'm happy about that. So it's now going to go ahead and scoot these over, doing a triangle activation. And it shouldn't be too dangerous. So it might actually land a hit on me, but it's not going to be horrible if it does. It won't be a strong hit. So I'm going to go ahead and first of all place a shadow in range 2, which will be right here. And then it's going to retreat. Each shadow will attack, which it can't because it's not close enough, and it will attack again because I'm a light, which once again it can't. It's not close enough. Then it's going to use a special ability, so it will cleanse weak, and then it will rush, and it rushes 3. and then it will attack, which doesn't actually hit me. But then it was going to repeat that again for every shadow in the arena, which is the one I just placed. So it's going to rush and attack. It's going to deal 5 damage, which is going to be a lot. But I can handle that amount at least. Let's put that the other way. And then it will also get rid of that shadow that it just placed. Okay. Then we go back to me. And all I really need to do is damage. And it will be doing another triangle activation, which shouldn't be too dangerous. I mean, I guess actually it could be a little bit dangerous because they do 3. So let's go ahead then and actually use Guardian Stance. So we'll do Guardian Stance, which, oh, I should do this in the right order here. I get 3 power for using it. I get 1 power for its effect, and then it will be passively on top of my deck. Or discard pile, I should say. I will then use 4 power to go ahead and use Fading Light. And Fading Light, is this the right way to go? Would I be better off actually hitting it with a normal attack right now? I might actually just hit it with a normal attack. So I would have already been, yeah. Because it places a shadow in range 2, and my movement is 2. So the shadow would be able to attack me either way. So I think I am best off doing that. Okay. So we'll pay the 4 that I gain 4, I pay 4, Fading Light. I discard a brightness and it will deal 4 damage. Which will bring him up to, should be those, 4 would leave us if we were there. So we were at 8, 4 brings us to 12. So we take these off and I'll get a 10. So we're at 12 damage, I just need to do 3 more, which is conveniently 1 more use of Fading Light, so I should win next turn. I don't think you can do enough damage to me in 1 turn to eliminate me entirely. And we'll go ahead and move this over, especially since I have Guardian Stance, so I have some armor protection. And actually, that looks great for Brilliance, but I won't be able to use Brilliance for this. Okay. So, for Shade Claw, we'll move down the track. Triangle activation, which is placing a shadow in range 2, which will be right on my space. And then retreating, 1, 2, 3. And then the shadow will attack. I have a 2 in defense right now, so it's going to actually only deal 1 damage. Because it has 3, it normally would deal 3. And then it's going to attack again, dealing 1 more damage, bringing me up to 7 on me. And then, I have a feeling this is supposed to be a really hard fight, it's just that I'm playing with like the perfect misling for the situation. Anyway, I should then get my turn, which will just be, this actually makes a lot of sense. Let's go regeneration. So I gain 3 power. Oh, I'm going to be 1 damage short right now. Is that what I want to do? Because I might be 1 damage short because of the shadow. Because I can't take damage until the shadow dies. And I'm 1 power short of just using the exchange ability. Okay, so we'll do regeneration still. So I will heal 2 from that. And I gain the 3 power. That's annoying. Okay, so its next activation will be Rush, Attack, Retreat. Interesting. So what I'm going to do then is, after that, I will go ahead and I'm still going to use Fading Light. So I'll lose another one of these, but deal 3 damage. 1 is dealt to the shadow, so I can deal damage to Shade Claw. and then 2 dealt to Shade Claw. So Shade Claw is at 14 out of 15 damage. And let's see. I don't think there's anything else I can do with my turn, so I will have to end the turn here and just hope for the best because I'm out of power. There's a fatigue card here as well now, but that should be okay because I'm not going to be getting another one this round. And let's just go ahead and, I guess, deal with their activation. So, move these down. Circle activation, rush, attack, retreat, rush, attack. The attack is not great since that's 5. Brings me to 10 damage. And then retreat, 1, 2, 3. The nice part about this is there's an easy way to deal with it. Because, or there should be an easy way to deal with it. Yeah, because I'm likely healing up to half my health after combat. So, therefore, it's completely worthwhile to just go ahead and use anything like Brilliance or whatever. Or it really doesn't matter, actually. It's within any range. So, Brilliance, I'll gain a Brightness. And then I could spend power. I actually would gain 2 power first. Could spend power to gain additional Brightness. Then I get to move and deal 2 damage in range 2, which is enough to defeat the Shade Claw. So I have won that combat. When we win that combat, we go to script B91. And I have to turn the page back for that. With a last-ditch effort, your mistling pushes the Shade Claw away. It yelps and runs toward the winged figure, who picks it up with surprising tenderness. You feel the gaze of their fiery eyes before they turn back, flee south, and disappear among the trees. You hear the dragon sigh behind you. The visions are returning. Each mistling who took part in the combat will heal up to half their health, which I am at 10 damage, and my health is 17. And it specifies, this time, rounded down. So, that would be a 8. So I will heal 2, meaning that I'll be at 8 damage on me. I can discard any damage from the Shade Claw because that's done. And then I will add him to my encyclopedia, clear the arena, and gain a status, and then choose the next part. So I'm going to cut. So I will read through the little script and just go through the steps I took to end this combat. So, each mistling which took part, starting with the script. With a last-ditch effort, your mistling pushes the Shade Claw away. It yelps and runs toward the winged figure, who picks it up with surprising tenderness. You feel the gaze of their fiery eyes before they turn back, flee south, and disappear among the trees. You hear the dragon sigh behind you. The visions are returning. So the mistlings that we used in combat will heal up to half their health. So my Luminessa will heal. We've added the young Shade Claw to the Mistling Encyclopedia over here. And I don't remember, it was 151. So there we go. Young Shade Claw in the encyclopedia. And then we've cleared the arena, and then we gained a status. And the status we gained is, if I can find it on here again. I'll find it. There we go. Light in the Shadow Part 1. So clearly we're going to be doing a lot of anti-shadow stuff later on. Which actually makes me wish I had foray into the Shadow Realm, but unfortunately I do not. And then we can choose to either focus on the visions or focus on the dragon's emotions. And I'm going to go for the dragon's emotions because I want to know if there's any more threats coming up. So we're going to B103. You open yourself to the dragon's feelings, trying to understand its needs, and you're overcome with a feeling similar to the one you have when you make a bond with a mistling, but tenfold stronger. The dragon is trying to protect the world from an ancient danger that once cast darkness over these lands. It is desperate, thus needing strength from an inferior entity, you. It wants to see its siblings again and knows its wish won't come true. It's dying. Its siblings are in danger, trying to close other portals, and you, human, must find the places from the visions. Go to script B97. You're snapped out of your thoughts on as the dragon abruptly jumps away from the portal and roars for the last time. From its mouth, a stream of pure energy strikes the dark line. The line gets thinner and thinner until it's no wider than a finger. The stream also diminishes as the dragon coughs and spits blood. Eventually, the dragon falls to the ground but raises its head to look at you. Then it sighs wearily, and your skin prickles as it is enveloped by warm air. The dragon doesn't draw another breath, though its open eyes grow cloudy. You look around, overwhelmed, and see the mistlings finally getting up from the ground and look at you with fear and respect. Then they scatter and escape. You look down at your own hands, and you want to escape too. They shimmer with a strange light that sinks into your skin, making you dizzy and scared. Finally, the gleam disappears, and you feel oddly energized. You don't like this feeling at all. Gain 1 essence. So, this is essence. And what essence allows us to do is essentially tame mistlings without having to fight them. So there's a cost in our random encounters stack of mistlings for each one, and you can pay that amount in essence to just get them right away. So this is essentially a form of absorbing the dragon's power to do that. So we will add this to our little tray of things. And then we go to script B68, and we can pull up the art on the next page, which should be the cover art for this video as well. So, B68 is our script. You shake off the unsettling feeling and focus on what's important right now. You will think about these events, this tragedy later. But right now, you must pursue the invaders from probably the other side of the gap in reality, from the world basked in darkness. You must also check on Kerberg. Who knows what happened to the city during the powerful earthquake that shook the ground when you were at the ruins. You also hope that the invaders didn't go there, if they could defeat the Guardian Dragon. What's worse, you still remember the visions, the floating islands with the red crystal, and the feeling of loneliness when lost in the darkness, but you will focus on this problem later. Congratulations, you've reached the end of the scenario. So, I'm going to quickly go through this a little bit, and then, doing that myself, and then I'll just quickly go through what it is. Be right back. Okay, so, having done that setup, we've done a couple different things. One, the world map has been updated. So, first of all, this scenario option is now gone from over here. The one we just did for Shadow the Dragon. And we've also gained a new area, but we'll get to that in a second. So we'll basically have two options for the next scenario. We can either do Aftershock, which is going back to Kerberg, or we can do Cold Trail, which is going after the runaway shadow creatures. So that's our world map at the moment. We'll put that off to the side. And then we get to do a couple different things. One is we get to take all of the damage on our mistlings and remove it to fully heal them back to full health. We'll also get to remove our 2 fatigue, one that was on each mistling. However, that will be done after the next step, because after the next 2 steps actually. So, we've completed a scenario, and we actually get to open another booster pack. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And we're going to go through it this direction because it's fancier. And then we always get the fancy card on the other side. Okay, so we have Malleable Light. That looks fun. So you get to choose 2 different effects. You can attack, you can deal 3 damage at any range, you can gain 3 power, and you and your ally cleanses 2. That's a really fun ability and really overall useful, especially since I have Luminessa. We then have Wind Walk. So if you're fighting that was light, this is air. If you are fighting in earth, you get 2 power, and then you can blink 7, and you can spend 6 power to trigger. So you'd be able to use another card. And then if you are in one of the teardrop spaces, you get +3 attack as long as this is on face up. Let's see now. Not duplicates so far this time either. Geokinetic Grasp, so our Earth card. So attack, and then you attack each opponent that is in any of the special spaces. That's really good. I think this is a better booster pack than our last one. Okay, there's a duplicate. Volcanic Surge. We choose a teardrop or a petal space. We deal 2 burn to each other mistling in range 1 of that space. It's like a little eruption. Now, I have to check. Let's look at the little tag over here for what burn does again. So, okay, there we go. So there's a max of 5, and before it is discarded at the end of the turn, you will gain 1 for each burn. So it's essentially a form of unblockable damage, which is nice. There are 2 of those in this pack. And then we have Tide of Variety. So you choose an opponent, this is water. Choose an opponent in range, and then if they are in a teardrop space, that you heal 2 and then search 2, which is kind of, I'm assuming it's you, otherwise I don't think that would work. If they are in one of the arc spaces, you deal them weak, silence, and slow. And if they are in a petal space, you deal them 4 damage. I'm guessing there's 2 of those, yes. Then we have Solar Flash, another light card. So we discard all cards to the left or right of this card. And then you deal 2 damage to an opponent in range 2 for each card discarded. So if you get this to the end of the track, that's a lot of damage. That's good. There's 2 of those. I think I know what's going in my Luminessa deck. And then we have Draining Nightfall for the dark, which discards 2 cards from the top of your deck, and then you attack with Drain. It's an interesting strategy. I'm guessing there's a purpose to it. Probably dark having something to do with discarded cards. And we have a special fire card for this, Outburst. For every 2 cards in your discard pile, oh, that's actually related. Deal 1 damage to an opponent in range 1, then to you. Oh? If the opponent has burn, deal them an additional 5 damage. Remove this card from play. So you can only really use it once per combat, but you do it when you have a lot of cards in your discard pile and when they're already on fire. That's quite good. So these cards will be added to our available cards for building our decks. Next scenario, we also get to draw from the advancement deck. So we draw 8 cards, -1 for each fatigue. We have 2 fatigue, so we get 6 cards to choose from. And I'm going to go through these. I get to pick, I believe, 3 of them. Yes, 3 of them. So I can choose between Honed to Perfection, which allows you to move, and then you get a bonus action of 1 to Sharpen, which gives your attacks +1. And this is a thing that just stays out, and as long as you have, I think it's Enhancement is the name. As long as you have this, like once you play it, it goes out and it stays there until your deck has to be reshuffled. So that's nice. We have a dash option, so you can move +2, spend 2 to move +2 again. So really fast movement. We got Reach, which gives you a power and then gives your attacks +1 range as long as it's up. Disperse, which gives you a power, and then whenever your opponent deals the direct damage, reduce it by 1 for each space between you and that opponent. That could be useful. Deliberate Strike. Attack, and then attack again if you have at least 8 cards in your discard pile. And Blind Fury. So you attack and you may gain 4 damage to attack again. So we get 3 of these. I like the idea of Honed to Perfection, because it's just a basic move card, but it also gives you the ability to strengthen yourself for a while. And then I think I already have a Reach. So I'll take Disperse for some damage prevention. And I'm thinking either Dash or Deliberate Strike for the third one. I think I'm going to take Dash. Well, wait. We'll do Deliberate Strike. Okay. So we'll put those away and we'll do a little wrap-up of the scenario here. Okay, so just to wrap things up here, we'll just go through what we did. So last things, we're just saving the game essentially and starting another scenario. And that scenario will be shown in the next video, of course, because we're doing a full series here. Also, a friendly reminder, I said at the start of this video, say it again, not immediately, but coming up pretty soon, we should have a slightly better setup going on here for actually not having blurrier text or blurrier models or anything like that while playing. So we'll be getting a different camera and a little bit of a different setup. So, let's go through this. We have, throughout this little episode we have here, gone through the fight against that enemy like shadow-tamer creature that had a young Shadeclaw. We won the fight, talked to the dragon, or not talked, like had some form of vision through the dragon, absorbed some of its power or essence, which we'll probably find out all about later. And then we discovered that we have more parts of the map now, and we can either follow the shadow-tamer or go back to the town. But we'll see how that goes in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Board to Life.